Okay, let's see what we can do in Photopea.com. I'm going to make a new document, and when I do click new document, I want to name it with my last name and my first name, and for this project I will call it half animal. All right, now this project, I want you to start with your own canvas to begin with. So what I want you to do is I want you to have a 5x7 white blank canvas. So you can choose 5x7 and enter 300 for your DPI and click create, and you will have a white canvas to work with that is 5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. Next, you will click open in place, and you're going to find your picture of you or somebody else that you are going to use to make a half animal, half you. I've placed this in there, and I'm going to make it much larger by holding Shift and grabbing the corner and just dragging it out. Now notice that I can reposition this thing as I go, and then grab the corner again with Shift and drag it out and make it even longer. Okay, and then I'm going to center it up. Can you hear motorcycles and things going by in the background? I sure hope not. Okay, once you have that there, click the check to basically make that stay where it is. Now I'm going to add the picture of a bobcat by clicking File, Open in Place, select the bobcat, click OK. Now, notice that this layer is on top of the other layer. If I reduce the opacity by clicking on the word opacity and dragging to the left, you will begin to see that it's transparent, or there's more transparency happening. And I want to use the Move tool and line up the eyes of the bobcat with my picture. If I zoom in here, you can see it a little bit better. Remember, changing the opacity allows you to see this a little bit better. So, reduce the opacity, I'm looking at the eyes. Am I happy with it? Sure. Then I just drag the opacity back to 100, and I am repositioning the whole picture a little bit here so I can see it better and show you. Now I need to add a raster mask onto the top layer so that I can basically hide areas that I don't want. So what I'm going to do is I am going to click on the layer mask and choose Image, Adjustments, and look for Inverts. And now my white raster mask is solid black. I'm going to go over here to the foreground color, click the little box here so that I get white and black in there. And I want white on top so that it is the foreground color. I'll choose the brush, and what I want to show you is, I'm going to change the size here first. I'm going to make the brush a bit bigger and maybe the edge a little softer. I'm dragging that to the left. Now, wherever I draw with white is going to reveal the bobcat. All right? It's revealing the bobcat because the black is covering up that layer. So wherever there's black on the bobcat layer, you will not see that layer. But wherever there is white in the raster mask, you will see that layer over the layers below. So when I stop here, you look at the raster mask and you can see where I drew that white. Okay? So I continue to draw around here and just kind of add to it. And the beauty of using a raster mask or layer mask in Photoshop, the beauty of that is that you're able to really restore things, put things back. Now I went too far on this, but if I change my brush to black and just draw around the edge, you can see that I'm, you know, in one way of looking at it, I'm erasing, right? So if I use white, I reveal. So there's the tip of the ear. And if I use black, I can go back and try to erase or conceal those areas there. So it's really an effective way to work because you're not really erasing. You're just, you know, revealing or concealing. And so if I go to the edge there, I can make this a little bit harder so I can kind of draw around here and see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just doing this kind of quick and dirty just to give you an idea of how this works. And if you take more time, you could go through and be really, really careful and make this even more realistic. But for this particular lesson, it's again something that's going to help you learn how to use the raster mask, or if you're in Photoshop, the layer mask. All right, so black conceals, white layer mask reveals. I could go to Edit, Free Transform, and then hold Shift and make this a little bit bigger. Maybe I want to try to cover my bald head. So that's what I'm doing there, is just kind of make it a little bit bigger, move it around, see if it looks good. You know, this might not be great, but I think you're learning how to use this tool, which is the important part. So if I like it, I double click and it'll stay there, and that's cool. Now remember, if I use white, I'm going to reveal. If I use black, I'm going to conceal. So I want to get rid of that little part right there. So I use black. Change the softness of my brush here. Blend it in a little bit. And there we go. Now, I have an idea. I could do, well, kind of the opposite of this. What I could do is I could take the cat and make the cat kind of featured with my glasses. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this bobcat so that he is a little bigger and, you know, fits with me. Maybe, I don't know, bigger? Maybe I should be smaller. Let's take a look. Just going to line up the eyes a bit. When I'm happy with it, I'll double click. I'm going to rotate just a little bit. Notice if I go outside around the corner, I can rotate. Kind of get the glasses and the eyes matched a little bit. Now, what I want to do is I want to add a raster mask to my layer and make sure that it's black. So if I go Image, Adjustment, Invert, becomes black. My picture is totally covered. Not seeing it at all. It is concealed. When I go with a white brush onto my raster mask and I begin drawing, I'm going to reveal me. So look at that, revealing me. If I go with black, I can go and conceal the parts where I drew too much. Yeah, it kind of works like this. Trying to make the whiskers coming out there. All right. So you can kind of see the point that white is covering, you can see the point. Black is covering up the layer, white is revealing the layer. So if I keep going with this, I can try to really give the cat maybe my glasses or something like that, or my eyes, and you know, you might like that. Okay, so now what if we, what if we go in here and I'll add the mouth, and it'll be a bobcat with my mouth. And, you know, I think I could probably do a little better here. So I'm going to add my mouth by drawing white. And again, the black will conceal. So if I'm just going to try to add my mouth there. Now, what I think I want to do is I want to crop this whole thing. Now that I've made it 5x7, I'm going to crop the whole thing just down so I get the part that I want. I just want the cat, and I can make this smaller. So I'll just go with my crop tool from edge to edge where I have all picture, and just crop it to that, make it a little larger so I can see it better. Here, oh, the top. Let's get that cleaned up. Okay, now make it a little larger so I can see what I'm doing. And then I just go back in again. Take the brush tool, take black, conceal, and maybe I just want to have the glasses and the mouth. So I'm just going to work the edges there. And notice that when I switch back and forth between white and black on my brush, I can just click and draw. And you can use the X for a shortcut to change between black and white on your foreground, background color there. So I can change the size of the brush, hardness of it, go around to the edge, and just begin drawing on there to clean it up. Okay? So remember, when you are done, you are going to save a PSD and also export a JPEG. Okay, there you go. Rewind and watch again if you need to. You can take little sections of it. It's pretty easy. Black conceals, white reveals.